determined. To South America, and Brazil's former president Jair Bolsonaro is staging a massive rally in Rio de Janeiro. He is aiming for a show of strength as he faces potential trials for allegedly orchestrating an attempted coup. The demonstration being held on Copacabana beach calls for amnesty for those convicted over the riots in Brasilia. Bolsonaro, who has been barred from holding public office until 2030 due to unproven claims of election fraud, hopes to overturn the ban and mount a Trump-like comeback in the 2026 elections. Brazil's Supreme Court will decide on March the 25th whether to indict Bolsonaro, a move that could result in a prison sentence of over 40 years. Analysts say the rally is not just about amnesty, but a strategic step to maintain political relevance and test his influence on the Conservative base. Joining us to discuss this latest development is Gautam Mukherjee, who is a senior journalist joining us from India. Gautam, thank you very much for your time and thank you for being here. Of course, ahead of this potential trial, for Bolsonaro, is this really a last throw of the dice to gain some public support?
I think he has a great deal of public support, and that is what he is demonstrating at Copacabana. The judiciary will also probably take note of it. Most of the accusations against him seem to be political in nature and are very difficult to prove in a court of law. If there is election fraud, that may be a little bit easier, but an attempted coup and saying that he is behind it will be difficult to prove because most of the time after he lost the elections, he went to America. And by the time he was accused of this while he was in America, then he came back. I think the incumbent President Lula is having a tough time consolidating his power base. Bolsonaro is right-wing and very, very popular with the people. So it remains to be seen. If you want to eliminate a man from the democratic discourse by sticking him in jail, I don't think that's going to be very valid and will not stick.
Yes, Gautam, looking at the instability in Brazil, of course, following the riots that we saw that are now being described as a potential coup, do you think that the political instability can work in Bolsonaro's favour?
I believe so. I believe that, if Lula was going to get a grip, he would have done so by now. And the other point about Lula is he's very elderly. Bolsonaro is much sturdier, and it is probable that it is not possible for Lula to do anything terribly dynamic at this point in time. So, but there's a certain amount of settling of scores because Bolsonaro also put Lula in jail for quite a spell. So let us see what emerges, especially when the court pronounces.
Absolutely. And you've mentioned already, of course, that Bolsonaro went to the United States. Do you think there would be a wider implication to this result, whether Bolsonaro is tried or not, and a potential return for him to politics? How would Trump, for example, view that?
I think people in the press are already calling it a Trump-like return. I think Bolsonaro's politics are more in line with Trump's. And while Trump is quite clear that he doesn't like to interfere in other people's countries, unlike the previous administration, I think a broad-based support could well emerge from America for Brazil and for Bolsonaro's reinstatement.
Gautam Mukherjee, thank you very much as always for your time and your insight. We will keep an eye not just on the rally that is happening later today, but also the fallout from that. But we move on, and thousands of Romanians